How's it going, guys? I'm Jared and welcome back to Talking Points. Today I want to take a closer look at Hyperkin's new retro clone console, the Retron 5. But before we start, I wanted to thank my friend Anthony Vasquez for renewing my interest and informing me on some of the console's finer points. For those of you who don't know, Hyperkin are in the business of making new products for modern and retro gaming. They produce controllers, cables, accessories, and even parts for repair. But the subject of today's talking point is their Retron line of video game consoles. The latest in the series is the Retron 5, and it has gamers, collectors, and journalists pretty damn excited. So let's dig in and see what all the fuss is about. The Retron 5 is an all-in-one console that plays, and get ready for a long list here, NES, Famicom, SNES, Super Famicom, Genesis, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and Master System cartridges with the assistance of a power-based converter. As a classic game collector, this is a real shock to my system. A system shock, if you will. Oh, come on. Nothing? Well, that's pretty fitting because the Retron's compatibility is no joking matter. Hyperkin says they're striving for 100% compatibility, and for you importers, yes, this does mean region-locked games. The console can play carts from PAL and NTSC regions, and apparently even carts with specialty chips like Super Nintendo Super FX. As you would expect, the console has inputs for Genesis, NES, and SNES controllers, but the best feature is being able to use any controller for any game. I have 2 cabinet drawers filled with controllers, and it'd be nice to cut back on some of that clutter. The Retron's also bundled with a Bluetooth controller that's supposed to be a large step up from its predecessors. Or at least let's hope so. The D-pad on it reminds me of my Hori PDP fighting pad, but other than that, I think the thing looks pretty crappy. Granted, I haven't actually gotten to hold it, but I'd be surprised if this design ended up being comfortable in the hands. When it came to the Retron Trio, and I don't think I'm alone in this, I hated that obtrusive dial on the front of the console. They used it to select cartridge slots, but Hyperkin must have listened to their fans, because they decided they needed to do way better. Instead of a cheap-feeling dial, the 5 has a pretty intuitive-looking graphical user interface that lets you choose your system and even auto-detects games. The GUI also lets you change settings and allows access to a couple really interesting features. First off, you're given the ability to make and manage save states for every game the console supports. And that's pretty amazing, and it very well may be the first time I've ever seen a console learn from an emulator. As someone who plays a lot of 16-bit RPGs, I can't tell you how many times I wish I could have saved in the middle of a boss fight. The other features supported are video filters. Now, I'll be honest, I'm a little bit of a pixel purist, so I don't think these will do me much good. But if you're like me, Hyperkin also included the ability to emulate scan lines. Now that's what I call making everyone happy. Those of you who want a smoother, softer look can use the filters, but those of us who want that sharp, crisp CRT feel have the scan lines. Genius. Now all of this is pretty amazing, but I think the most impressive feature is the console's HDMI output. I've recently fallen headfirst into classic video game upscaling, and while the Retron's upconversion will not be as good as my FrameMeister, it's still a very welcome addition. The Android-based operating system that makes up the interface will give you the option to scale images to full screen, and I think this is exactly the kind of thing that will get modern gamers more comfortable with the idea of playing these relics from the past. Okay, so now we all know the features, but what do I think about them?
The crazy train's coming off the tracks! So fucking excited! Get some!
I'm being completely honest when I say that I'm more excited for the launch of the Retron 5 than I ever was about the launch of the Xbox One or PS4. Of course, I haven't had any hands-on time with it, but I think it's pretty safe to say the Retron 5 will be a beast of a machine. I do, however, have some possible downsides. Now, I can admit that I don't like the look of the Retron 5. And it is a huge improvement from the Trio, but in editing this video, I have to say the look's kind of grown on me a little bit. I also hope that there's an option to not scale the picture, as my FrameMeister already handles that. If that's not included, I can see it being a damper on my personal setup. And the last gripe is kind of one that I can't confirm, but in the past these consoles have been notorious for mishandling sound emulation. I hope Hyperkin will try their best to get close to that original sound that these consoles are known for. Other than these small and possibly non-existent gripes, I can't see too much else that might bring it down. The Retron 5 looks like it'll be a powerhouse console, and its best feature may be how hard it's trying to bring classic gaming into the present with its convenience and 720p upscaling. I think modern gamers will be way more likely to take the plunge into classic gaming with a product like this, which will be much easier on their wallets than I first expected, as Hyperkin has announced that it's going to be under 150 bucks. The Retron 5 looks to dominate the scene when it comes out, and as a classic gamer, I absolutely cannot wait. Hey guys, thanks for watching this latest episode of Talking Points. Now let me know in the comments down below how you feel about the Retron 5, because me personally, I'm not 100% sure that it can replace the consoles that I've collected over the years. but of course I haven't had a chance to play around with it because it's not released yet. So let me know how you feel, if this is something that you're actually going to put out there to replace your consoles, or if it's just going to be a fun little oddity. I'm kind of interested to see what you have to say. As you guys already know, you can find me on Facebook and Twitter, and I've also linked to a couple of episodes of Talking Points here if you want to check out anything else I have. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, because honestly, I am not getting rich fast enough with this, and I would like to be really rich now, so make me rich.